So on June 20th, 2016, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, was fired somewhat abruptly. And now stories are starting to emerge that paint a picture as to why Trump wanted Lewandowski out. It says, and this is from an article according to New York Magazine, and there's a link to it in the description so you can read the article. According to two sources briefed on the events, a meeting was set up. Shortly after it began, the children peppered Lewandowski with questions, asking him to explain the campaign's lack of infrastructure. So you can imagine, if you ever watched the show The Apprentice, you remember that the kids were very good at really just backing people into a corner and just piling on with lots of questions in a very critical nature that left no way out. It said that they went through the punch list. Where are we with staffing? Where are we with getting the infrastructure built? One source explained. Their father grew visibly upset as he heard this list of failures. He finally turned to Lewandowski and said, well, what's your plan here? So it sounds like it was, chances are, that Trump, who is usually quite loyal to the people that are working with him, apparently the kids did not see that same sense of, they did not see that their father should be as loyal to Lewandowski as Trump was choosing to be. And so they had probably been making the case, and this had probably been going on for quite some time, because they could see that, chances are they can see their father, who they regard as a very intelligent man, is making blunder after blunder after blunder, saying stupid thing after stupid thing, as the general election is only drawing a few months away, and he's completely destroying his chance to become president. And so the kids appear to have held Corey Lewandowski to blame for that. And so when Trump asked them, when he turned to him and said, so what is your plan here? Lewandowski responded that he wanted to leak Trump's vice president pick. And the article goes on to say that with that, Lewandowski was out. Trump has long viewed announcing his running mate at the GOP convention as a valuable card to play. He was shocked that Lewandowski didn't have any ideas. Then, a few minutes later, Lewandowski was escorted out of the building by Trump security. But hours later, Corey Lewandowski was on CNN, and he was on, I believe, NBC News, explaining that he didn't have a reason why he was out. He was very hush-hush about it. He was very trying to be very diplomatic and explaining that he was honored to be a part of history and all the usual nonsense that people say when they're giving non-answers, which is what everybody involved in politics seems to be a complete master at doing, giving non-answers. It says that Lewandowski's dismissal had been in the works for weeks, and it marks the culmination of an intense lobbying campaign by Trump's three oldest children, Ivanka, Eric, and Donald Jr., as well as allies of campaign chairman Paul Manafort. Now, Paul Manafort, according to Wikipedia, he worked on the campaigns. Paul Manafort worked on the campaigns of Gerald Ford back in 1976. And worked on Ronald Reagan's campaign in 1980. He was also an advisor to Bob Dole and John McCain, as well as both Daddy Bush and Bush Jr. So he's been a long time. This guy Paul Manafort has been a long time insider in the Republican Party, and it looks like there was probably a tug of war between Lewandowski and Manafort, between who was going to get the top spot to really earn Donald Trump's guidance as to who was going to guide the way for his campaign come November, which is only a few months away. I mean, we're in the middle of June, so you don't have much time left to get this stuff figured out. So it goes on to say that sources said one of Lewandowski's mistakes was leaking dirt about Ivanka's husband, Jared Kushner, to reporters. Word of Lewandowski's whisper campaign made its way back to Manafort allies. And so there must have been some internal, there's probably been for several months some internal struggles between Corey Lewandowski and Paul Manafort. And once Paul Manafort was able to get the kids on clearly on his side, they were able to convince Dad that, hey, Corey Lewandowski's got to go. It also says that they were frustrated that Lewandowski seemed to encourage Trump's worst behavior, including his attempts to delegitimize the Indiana-born federal judge presiding over the Trump University case by describing him as a Mexican. You remember that Donald Trump said that this judge who was involved in the case that against Donald Trump for Trump University, Trump criticized him, saying that he couldn't get a fair because the judge is a Mexican. But no matter how rocky things got, Lewandowski's position was, until recently, strengthened by the fact that Trump was winning. So it looks like the only reason Lewandowski ended up on the losing side of this is because Trump's poll numbers started to go down substantially. He kept saying stupid thing after stupid thing, and that's going to catch up with you at some point. And it seems like the tipping point in the momentum of Trump's sort of Teflon persona, where he could say anything and completely get away with it, no matter how offensive, no matter how racist, or no matter how stupid it was pretty much no one could touch him until this issue with the judge and his comments about the judge being a Mexican. And rightly so. It was a really stupid thing to say, and it was just it was awful. But no matter how, so it says that despite his inexperience and hot temper, he held on to the post because whatever he was doing was working. Trump was winning. But now with Trump's poll numbers falling well behind Hillary Clinton, Lewandowski lost his bulwark. So he basically lost the clout that he had to keep this going, because now the campaign is taking on water and is starting to falter. So this guy's out. So Corey Lewandowski, as you would always hear on The Apprentice, clearly, and the kids had it in for him, you're fired.